Welcome back to Phatkat Collections YouTube. Got another release by Spinnaker, and this is their Bradner. Check this out. Done in what we call the Pepsi color combination. This is kind of something they refer to Rolexes as, I don't know, they refer to the Rolex colors as names, right? So Pepsi's like your blue and red. I believe that's kind of where this kind of terminology came from. The greens are Hulk, the blues are Smurf, etc., etc. So this one is done in that Pepsi variation. Pretty cool. I don't have any Pepsi style watches really, or in that red and blue. It's not really something I found myself gravitating towards, to be honest with you, until my dad kind of showed interest in it, and I was like, yeah, you know, it's pretty cool. So the Bradner is a pretty awesome watch. This is a automatic watch, of course, and what's really cool about this is that you have this inner rotating bezel with basically 24 hours on it. And so check it out. Let me just show you guys here. I'm trying to find, this is actually a GMT as well. So if you, hopefully this is focusing here, when you turn this upper function pusher or function knob, it rotates that inner directional rotating bezel. I don't know if it's in, they usually refer to bezels as unidirectional. I think this is multi-directional, I think is the proper term, but not 100% sure. And then you have, of course, a screw down crown on the opposite side here. Kind of odd, you know, I always wonder why they put a screw down crown on a watch with a non-screw down function knob or pusher, because your water resistance is subject to your weakest link, but this still gives you a decent amount of water resistance. Let me just give you guys kind of the specifications on this. Love that Spinnaker puts the movements in there. I am trying to, I've been saying it so long, I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't want to push them too hard about it. You know, this is under Dartmouth brands, and Dartmouth owns several different watch companies, Spinnaker, Nubeo, RGMT, and several other ones. And so on Spinnaker, they're great about putting the movement. They do list Japanese Seiko NH34 automatic GMT, whereas on some of the Nubeo watches, they're just going to list Japanese automatic movement. So whoever did the website really needs to go back and update it, because that is an important factor for many, many watch collectors. Even though I'm pretty, laid back when it comes to stuff like that, I still want to know what movement a watch has. So this one is giving you an NH34 GMT automatic. We have a 42 millimeter case diameter, 15 millimeters in case thickness. It is kind of a chunky watch. Some of you may whine and cry and say my wrist hurts. Then this probably isn't a watch for you. But 15 is really not that thick. I actually like a watch that has a little bit of height to it, right? So I totally dig this. Again, I wear smaller ones, I wear bigger ones. I really just like all watches. I really do. For me, it's price is the biggest thing, right? Because I just know what you get for your money with a brand like Spinnaker compared to a luxury brand. To me, it's so delusional to me to think you have to spend 20 grand or even 5 grand for a watch to get amazing quality. But I digress. Buy what makes you happy. So 20 millimeter band or bracelet on this, stainless steel fold over buckle and safety lock or safety clasp. It is a milled clasp, as you can see right here, which is nice. That is a concern for some folks. I'm just gonna peel off the sticker here and just show you guys. You have an exhibition window, very basic rotor, just all black with the Spinnaker branding on it. Some folks are gonna be like, I don't like the branding, like when Invicta has the, Invicta on the side, it's over branded. Really, most watches have branding in several places, right? They generally have it on the crowns. They generally have it on the face. They generally have it on the back. Usually the rotor if it's an exhibition window, and then the back of the bracelet. So not really. I never worry about what a brand says, and to me, it doesn't bother me if this did say Spinnaker on the side or not. It's not really a big deal. Some folks really get sensitive about it, though. But again, to each their own. Lug to lug, 50 millimeters, 180 meters of water resistance, 2-year international warranty. Very cool bracelet on this. I'm going to call this, and I may be wrong in saying this, but I consider this sort of your grains of rice kind of bracelet, kind of like you're going to see on the Doxa watches. I love these bracelets. I think they're very flashy. Those inner links are rounded, so I think it just catches the light really nice. It's a very, I think, dressy looking bracelet. Again, you can put this on, I've seen many watches with this style of bracelet, but I dig it. I totally like this. You do have a sapphire lens with anti-reflective coating, those inner rotating turning bezel, and it is 316 stainless steel. So it's got really everything that you need in a watch. I watched another reviewer, one that I actually like to watch as well, reviewing a steel dive the other day. It was interesting. He was comparing a steel dive and, of course, a San Martin. He was saying how the tolerances on the bracelet were much better on the San Martin. And when he was kind of moving it back and forth, it was, but to me, I have steel dive, and it looked like he got a defective bracelet because my tolerances aren't like that. So when you're looking at a watch, you know, it's not impossible. Things do happen where companies send out, you know, I guess you're going to spend $20,000 for a watch. You probably have a better odds of getting something that hasn't, you know, that's been really inspected. Whereas something like this, it's produced, it comes off the line or however it's made, then it gets sent to the customer. So mine even still has the plastic on it, of course, but you can see these are super tight tolerances. And, you know, you don't want the tolerances too tight, but again, there are watches with super tight tolerances. And then we look at some watches like Rolex Jubilee bracelets, which are very, very jingly jangly, right? As quoted by, what's his name, the Urban Gentry, right? Well, snobs get up in arms over him saying it, but that's really the case. It's either made to be tight or made to be loose. In this case, I would say this is pretty tight. There's, you know, not a lot of flop in there, but that's not an indicator of quality or not. It's an indicator. It would be an indicator of quality if a company's like, hey, we tried to get it really tight, but it's really loose. We just don't have the technology to do that. But companies make bracelets a lot of times a certain way for a certain reason. But this is pretty nice. I do find these type of bracelets are generally pretty tight. Love the way it looks. I'll take this over Shark Mesh any day of the week. It's a fantastic looking watch. Definitely a watch that, you know, I think is you know, really any watch can be dressy. Well, let me come back. If you're going to wear a 57 millimeter or 60, 70 millimeter Sea Hunter with a nice suit, I think that's a little over the top. It's not something I would wear as much as I like Invicta watches. I probably wouldn't wear that with a suit, right? There's a time and a place for watches, but ultimately you can wear whatever makes you happy. I'm not saying I'd never wear that, but generally, you know, I feel like that's more of this is a different occasion kind of watch, right? So again, it just depends, you know, it just totally depends. We look at a lot of rappers out there rocking lots of jewelry, looking fantastic in suits, right? So a lot of it has to do with, you know, everybody's personality is different, everybody's style is different. Ultimately, you know, it doesn't really matter. It's do what makes you happy, what you feel confident doing, and if you got the balls to pull it off, then it makes you happy, do it, right? That's about it, really. It is available in several different color combinations. Let's see what they got available. And what's interesting is every time I request watches, they always sneak in new models. So we have here the classic, you know, Coke, which is black and red. We have the Pepsi, the blue and red. We have your blue, we have your black, we have your Batman style. We have a green and black, kind of a brown and black, gray and black. Lots of color variation on this, but they just came out after I ordered this to some really interesting colors. Beige and linen, very nice. Kind of a blue and sky blue, yellow and black, orange and blue. But then this one here really is calling me. I am going to request it. This one here is Mystic Purple, and it's like a black and like really bright kind of magenta. And I love when companies do kind of colors that you don't see a lot. And pink is definitely one of those colors. The linen is gorgeous as well. Definitely need to get my hands on those, so stay tuned for that. You will be seeing them on the channel. But this is a fantastic watch, and I think they do make this watch in non-GMT versions, but you know, I definitely dig the GMT. I like the ability to be able to turn that bezel. I like, of course, keep in mind, you know, it is easy to turn. So if you know, kind of hit that on something, you might rotate the bezel a little bit, but I don't think it's super, you know, you're not going to be like timing yourself and be like, oh my God, I'm late, you know. I don't think it's anything quite like that, but just kind of keep that in mind. But I like the GMT. I like being able to see military time as well. That's generally how I set my GMTs when I set a watch. Half the time I put a watch on, it's not even set. I really just wear them as jewelry, but I will, you know, I do make an effort to try to set them. But let's throw this on the wrist and do my best here. I'm going to pull off this new Bayo. You guys will be seeing this one. This one's pretty sick. I got these in 2 different colors. All right, that's all you get. Great looking piece. Let me just pop off the plastic here. Just, I mean, like when you take the, when you undo the clasp on this, just because of the tolerances are so tight on this one here, it just really feels solid. You know, it's a great piece. No, I didn't size this yet, and I will, but I'm just so excited to oh, look at that. Just the bracelet alone really just makes the watch. It's such a classy, good-looking piece. Now, I have a 7-inch wrist. I weigh about 182 pounds. I'm 5'8". And this gives you an idea what a watch like this looks like on me. I think I failed to mention here the diameter on this. I think it's 40-something. Well, I don't think. I know it's 40-something. 42 millimeters. So, you know, I think 42 millimeter is going to be that size that really, you know, works really for everyone. Even for, you know, even though in the beginning, I've been doing this a long time on YouTube, and I know in the beginning, you know, I kind of caught the vibe for the big giant watches, and I still love those. Don't get me wrong. I still wear them. I have a lot of them. They're awesome. But I really like to rotate, you know, what I wear. And you know, overall, I can understand why somebody might not want a 50 millimeter watch. This is not their style, but I don't think they look ridiculous. I don't think you have to have a certain body type and a size. I know the feeble, simple mind will say, "Oh, well, you're not a big guy, so you can't wear a big watch." That's just not true. You can wear whatever you want. We have the freedom of expression and to be able to wear what makes us happy and what we're going to spend our own money on. In my case, none of my money, but you know, there's many watches in my collection I've purchased and I've reviewed, and the reviews are exactly the same whether I purchase a watch or get it for free. You know, ultimately, I give each watch a fair go. And if there's something I see on it that I don't like, I mention it. Whether that's like a loose connected theme, whether it's something like, you know, this rotating inner bezel, I would like to have seen a system on that locks that down. But these are very small gripes, and I don't ever want to come across with you folks kind of like how a lot of watch guys are. They review watches where they're just like, when they talk about quality, they're really nitpicking. And that's okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with nitpicking for you to make a decision on what you're going to be happy with, but that nitpicking doesn't indicate good quality, high quality, or whatnot, right? If, you know, a perfect example is, again, it's a guy I was watching the other day reviewing he's a good channel. I'm not talking crap at all, but he was reviewing the difference between a Captain Willard steel dive and San Martin, and he was giving it kind of like an objective review of things. But really, you can only be so objective, because ultimately, when you look at a watch and say, okay, well, the tolerances on this are better, what exactly is better? Like, just because you like a watch bracelet that's tighter doesn't necessarily mean that that's better. It's just the way that they designed it. Somebody might like it looser, right? And like somebody might say, hey, you know, I love a screw down crown. That's better. But somebody may say, hey, I don't like having to screw down the crown, right? So there is an objective reason when it comes to a screw down crown has better water resistance. For the most part, that can be true. But it doesn't mean the one without that doesn't have an acceptable depth rating. You know what I mean? So it really comes down to the person. Is sapphire crystal more scratch resistant than a mineral crystal? Yes, but how does that apply in the real world? So I do think people naturally, when they review watches, especially when you're doing comparisons, I feel like I'm looking for night and day differences, not nitpicking. You know, when you look at a logo, some people may like a Spinnaker logo, some might like a different brand better. Some might, you know, it's just, it's so subjective in what one considers better that there's not a lot of things you can objectively argue other than like quality materials. You know, I can see if like when we compare, you know, like that iced out watch I did the other day, when you look at something made of 3/16 stainless steel and you feel the weight of it compared to something that's just basic, some sort of alloy that's been plated, you know, we can feel that difference. We can say, all right, well, this is definitely heavier. However, on the flip side, somebody say, hey, you know, that stainless steel may be more durable, maybe more corrosion resistant, but I like the light weight of this watch. I like the flashy, you know, fake stones on it. So there's so many factors in this. Ultimately, when looking at a watch, when I do these reviews, you know, they're really sort of really show and tells, because every review for the most part I do, it's the same thing. I'm going to tell you how much I like the watch, because honestly I do. You know, there's always things like this one here. I think you guys, I don't know if you saw this video where I did, this is just a little link, that fully iced out Temu watch for like $25. Is it amazing for the money? Yeah. Does it make me happy wearing it? Absolutely. But I can honestly say there's a night and day difference in quality between that and something like this. But it doesn't mean that I don't enjoy the other one just as much. And ultimately, somebody may pick up that watch and say, hey, this gives me all the look I'm going for. Now, for me, would I prefer that done in stainless steel and a higher level of quality with those flashy enhancements? Absolutely. But then it wouldn't be $29. So there's always going to be something we can kind of argue about and, you know, and talk about what's better and what's not. ultimately, at the end of the day, watch collecting should be fun. And I have a lot of fun doing it, despite the morons we have all over the internet. But hey, that's okay. You know, they're not going anywhere. But ultimately, it's your money that you're spending. And when I do a video review and I'm showing you the show and tell, and if you see this and you say, man, I you know, that makes sense what you're saying. You look at, again, there's not many check boxes, there's not many options you can really get in a watch. But if you look at these videos and you see this watch, number one is when you see it, does it get you excited? You say, man, that's a good looking watch. I want to wear that. Then that's like the biggest thing, I think, with choosing a watch. Because ultimately, if you go into watch collecting with that mindset and you're not going into watch collecting like trying to find the perfect watch, I think you'll have a lot of fun collecting, expressing your own personal taste, and then, you know, sharing this with other people as well, and just, you know, accessorizing and wearing them is the most fun possible, right? That's really why we get them. So anyway, if I can help in any way, let me know. I did put a coupon code in the description for you to check out. Save yourself some money. This watch today is going for, what is it going for today? We are looking at $490 USD. And just, I didn't mention it, they don't call it the Pepsi, they call it the Parisian Night. Parisian Night, I think I'm saying that right. It's blue and red, Pepsi. And there's a Father's Day sale right now with no coupon needed to get 25% off. Use my coupon code on top of that. I believe you'll save yourself a little bit more. I forget what it is off the top of my head, 15 or 20%. Take advantage of it, always plug it in there. Try to save money. Doesn't mean it's always going to work, but usually it does. So if I can help you in any way, let me know. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a fantastic day, and take care.